Welcome, Mr. Jagessar. Thank you for making the time. How are you?
Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. Now, looking at shaping the future of innovation, we want to start off with a definition, please. What is innovation?
So innovation really isn't about doing things differently. It's about new products, new methods, new ways of doing things, new services. So one of the important things about innovation, it's about adding value. So you could have new products, new services, or even new methods for manufacturing, but if it doesn't add value, then it's not the type of innovation we're looking for. We're looking for changing things in a way that adds value to persons.
I appreciate the fact that you speak about value, and it makes me want to ask the impact or the importance of innovation, of research and developmental planning and policy. So where does that come in on the scale of importance?
So sometimes value is not always in terms of financial. It's about, sometimes you can have innovations that create jobs, that improves learning, that has a social benefit. So sometimes, you're looking for various forms of value that does not always include financial benefit.
I'm glad you make that difference, because sometimes people say development when they really mean growth, looking at money alone. But with that in mind, though, tell us about the Shaping the Future of Innovation project.
So this program, which was funded by the European Union as well as the IDB in partnership with the Ministry of Planning and Development and Kariri, was designed after years of research to sort of fill the gaps that we have in our innovation ecosystem. So this program was really targeted towards sort of providing the funding as well as the knowledge and the expertise to young innovators to help them along that path of taking their innovation to more success.
And I like the fact that you talk about the partnerships, because we would have spoken to the EU ambassador and he would have given an idea that there were projects coming along looking at partnerships between the EU and the Trinidad and Tobago, and it seems as though this is one of them.
Yes, definitely. So we've been receiving funds from the EU for the past 45 years. So for example, under the 9th TDF, we supported tertiary education. The 10th TDF, we supported the business and enabling competitive business. So this 11th TDF program, Shaping the Future of Innovation, was targeted towards the innovation sector. We've been talking about diversification for a while in Trinidad and Tobago, but how do we diversify, into what fields? And the answer can very well be every single field, every single sector. That's the point of diversification, to have economic value added in all or multiple sectors in Trinidad and Tobago. So this innovation program really targets persons who has an idea, a new product, a new service in any sector, and that requires a little bit of assistance, whether it's financial, technical, expertise, know-how, to develop their business, their product or their idea, and take it to market in a way that creates value, can earn them some more income, creates jobs. Those are the types of projects that we're looking for.
Now, it's one thing to say, okay, well, I have this idea and I know I've done some research and I want to make a contribution both to myself as well as the country that I'm a part of. But how does the ministry help to support this, taking that idea forward? What's the role of the Ministry of Planning and Development in this project?
So really and truly, the ministry has a policy mandate. We've developed the Vision 2030 strategic plan. It's all in alignment with the Sustainable Development Goals. So in 2017, we actually launched our first national innovation policy. And this was done after years of research, a lot of consultancies, consultations. We speak to the stakeholders in the sector. And basically what we did was that we've taken all of that research and all of those consultancy works and come up with a policy that identifies the major gaps within the innovation ecosystem. And we've developed this program, this Shaping the Future of Innovation program, around that policy, taking into consideration all of the gaps that we've identified and sort of build this program to target those gaps so that we can help our young innovators along the process. We really want to take them away from just that idea and bring that idea or product or service into the market. Remember I spoke about adding value. So unless they take that idea out of their head and develop a physical product with it or a service and bring it to market, it's really just an idea and it really doesn't add value at that point. So this program helps bring persons along that continuum, taking the idea out of their head, creating prototypes, testing it in the market, and hopefully those prototypes will have some market impact, because we want persons to buy these products and services.
Now, you speak about those gaps, Mr. Jagessar, and I want to ask, what are some of those gaps? Because, and I can imagine someone saying, okay, well, if they hear these are the gaps that the research, the consultancies have said, okay, well, this is some of the things, or these are some of the challenges that need to be overcome, and someone hears that, they're able to say, okay, well, it wasn't just me, it wasn't just in my head. So what are some of those gaps that you would have discovered, or the research would have or shown?
So one of the principal areas that they identified was funding. So funding is critical. Sometimes you just have an idea, but you don't have the funds to either bring a product to market, right? So we also give them that support in terms of the funding. But also, sometimes you're just an innovator, but you don't have the business acumen. So if you have an entrepreneurial spirit, but you need a little bit of training, not just about writing business plans and applying for future loans if you want to expand or scale up, but you really need to be able to have some marketing experience, and you need people to advise you. So we give you that whole gambit of technical advice. One of the other gaps is that there's a lack of coordination, or how would I say, maybe support between getting the industry and academia together. So we've targeted that with this program as well. So we're going to have another facility within the same program that helps to bring industry and academia together. So if there's an industry partner that has a problem that they can't solve for themselves, they're going to bring some of the academics in, the master's students, the PhD students, and let them see if they can solve it. So this is just beyond a regular internship. It's not an internship for job experience. It's an internship to fix a problem in industry.
And one of the things I appreciate as well is that it seems as though academia is starting to look at ways that the knowledge, the work that they're doing can be a little more functional, a little more practical, because sometimes it seems as though things kind of die in black and white. Okay, you finished your paper, you've gotten your degree, and you've published, and it's on the shelf, but you don't necessarily do anything with it after. So looking at the fact that, okay, well, we see what the needs are, and then we work towards filling those needs within the academia, I think is something that it will go a far way in terms of making this happen in a manner that we want it to a little more.
One of the positive things I need to note is that both of our universities here, the University of Trinidad and Tobago as well as the UWI, they have recognized this, and they've put a lot more focus into applied research. So it's not just about the publish and perish. You just do research so that you publish in a paper. But applied research means, putting that research into action, sometimes even taking it to market. So both the UTT and the UWI, who we've consulted a lot with on this program, they actually have facilities in place to encourage more applied research. They have business incubators and other systems in place to help their students along that continuum. So we want to use this program as a sounding board to give them a little bit more access, to help them touch base with industry. And as I said, not just about providing them with internships for job experience, but to actually bring a product or a service or a new method of doing things to that industry partner. So we're actually going to be supporting both the university and their students, as well as the industry partners. So everybody basically gets something out of it. And we'll be subsidizing the cost of that internship to make it a little bit feasible. So we want to encourage our industry partners to take advantage of this facility.
And when we return, I want to raise the point, because you spoke about entrepreneurial spirit. So I want to know whether or not these gaps that have been highlighted are something that would have been stymieing an entrepreneurial spirit, or is it just that in Trinidad and Tobago we don't really innovate that much? So that is one of the things we want to look at when we return, but we are speaking about shaping the future of innovation, the project. We are doing that with Mr. Davin Jagessar. Stay with us, we return with more. Welcome back. We are going in depth with Mr. Davin Jagessar about the Shaping the Future of Innovation project. And why is it important, to your view, Mr. Jagessar, to invest in an initiative like this in Trinidad and Tobago?
So we know in Trinidad and Tobago we have been blessed with creativity. We have naturally creative people. But one of the things is that a lot of that creativity, we tend to focus on the creative and festival arts. It's mostly focused around the arts, but that creativity is, it's inert within us, and we have that potential, and we really need to harness that potential for areas outside of that. As I said, it's multiple sectors. So if we could take that creative potential, tap into it, and bring it out in a way that adds value, and we apply some support, some resources, because that's what really is needed. It's identified in our policy. We need to apply some resources to those persons. We really can bring those persons to the front, especially when you give them some training and build their business acumen. It has tremendous potential towards our diversification thrust.
And this makes me ask the question, because sometimes we have creative individuals, but it's not necessarily that's safe to say, okay, well, I want to go out with this idea, I want to try to execute this, I have this plan, and I think it will work. It's much easier to just say, okay, well, I have a job already, or I have a situation that is kind of comfortable, but I like the fact that you speak about support and facilitating. But with that in mind, though, who is the ideal individual? Who are you looking for? Who can apply to access this funding, and what kind of funding are we speaking about?
So the individual we're really looking for is entrepreneurial spirit, an innovative spirit, and it comes with the territory. You have to be able to take a little bit of risk. So looking for a secure job, it's fine, but if you're not willing to take risk, then we're not going to be willing to support you. You really have to be willing to put your all and all your efforts, all your talents and resources behind this. So we're looking to support anybody, any individual, even the medium and the large businesses, SMEs especially, but even the medium and large businesses that have a business idea. They've probably tested it in the market, they know it's successful, and they're looking to scale up. So if you want to take that product or idea, we will support you by giving you some business acumen. We have a lot of facilities at the career or our state agency to build up that. But if you have a product or service already out at market and you want to scale up, then we can give you that funding. We have a cap on the funding that we can give, and it's not going to entirely be 100% funding. You're going to have to come with your own resources as well, but most of it, for the most part, will be your sweat equity, and that's how we're going to support you. We're going to give you the funding as well as the knowledge and the training and that sort of business support to make sure that that product or service is successful. And it's not only about success. We know that we're going to have some failure along the way, and that comes with the territory, and we've built that into our risk profile, and we've accepted that risk. So we, as a government, are taking a sort of a risk as well by having this program. It's an entrepreneurial spirit. We have to lead by example.
Now, it's one thing to say, okay, well, you have an idea and you've tested it a little bit already, but saying, okay, well, these are the exact criteria. So whether or not there's a ceiling, whether or not there is a floor, to say, okay, well, this is where I can engage with this. Where do persons get more information about the total ramification of the project?
So we have a call coming out in November. So I want you to keep tuned to the ministry's website, our social media pages, as well as our partners, both the Kariri, the IDB, as well as the EU, who is the major funder for this program. Also, we got some funding from the IDB as well. So keep tuned to our social media pages. I wouldn't preempt that call for proposals because that should have all the details, but we're looking for persons who are going to be able to generate revenue with this product, create jobs, must have some sort of social impact. Those are the types of things that we're looking for. And persons with an idea that can create those sort of benefits, that's the kind of project we're looking for.
Are there any specific sectors that you have an idea that will be weighted a little more favorably than others?
So definitely, if we're talking diversification, we know that we've been an oil and gas economy for some years now. So any sector outside of the oil and gas sector has been approved for funding.
And so you said there's a cap as well. Is there a certain amount of individuals that you're looking, or is in terms of like a cohort that you're saying, okay, well, this is the number that we want to start off with before we move forward with more?
What I will say is that we have a large pool of funding. So we have approximately 64 million TT dollars. So that's our cap. And if we can fund 10 innovators, 100 innovators, or 1,000, we want to expend that entire pool of funding.
Looking at proposals, I know you said you don't want to let too much out of the bag, but when can persons say, okay, well, all right, I'm getting ready? So even before the call for proposals come, are there some resources that you think people should be putting together, getting ready to answer the call for proposals?
Definitely. A call is coming out in November. Stay tuned, especially to the Careers website because they are implementing partner, right? Get your proposals and your ideas and your products together. Start putting some documentation. Definitely try to focus on the benefits that you're going to bring. Remember, I spoke about financial and the other economic benefits, whether it's job creation, social benefits. Forex generation, it's huge. We know that we have challenges with Forex these days. So definitely start putting things in writing, put them together, and get ready for the proposals because it's coming in November.
So once again, you spoke about partnerships and you said that Career is an implementing partner. I want to go back to the fact that the government of Trinidad and Tobago is partnering with the European Union. You just spoke about Forex as well. Are you think that people look to expand their reach beyond the Trinidad and Tobago? Because you also spoke about scaling up a little while ago. So how does that affect the persons coming in and saying, okay, well, I want to be part of this?
So definitely, I mean, if we have a product or a service that's already making waves in Trinidad and Tobago, it's already demonstrated its success, and you want to start going regional or even international, then you're definitely welcome and encouraged to bid, as a matter of fact, because you could definitely bring a little bit of job creation with that, definitely some income for your company, and you can generate some much needed foreign exchange for this country. So definitely those types of projects are more than welcome.
Timelines. What's the kind of timelines we're looking at for the project?
So this is a 3-year project. We're starting our first call in November. Every year we're going to have a call. This first call in November is specifically for innovators, whether it's small, medium enterprises, young entrepreneurs, even the medium and large enterprises. We're starting off with that in November, and coming sometime in 2022, I want to say by the second quarter of 2022, we should be looking at that other component that I spoke about earlier in terms of incorporating academia and industry. So stay tuned for that as well. If you have a problem and you don't know how to solve it, but you need academia, that's coming early in 2022.
And one of the things that I hear from you, Davin, it seems as though silos are being broken down and it's a very integrated approach. Because it seems as though sometimes the only person who has a problem is we who are feeling it at that point in time, as opposed to saying, okay, well, other people may be working towards it. And I really appreciate the fact that it seems as though there's an integrated approach, like I said, intersectional, so that different persons with different skill sets, with different resources, can be looking at the same problem and trying to address it from a holistic point of view. Am I right in looking at it that way?
Well, most definitely. I think that it's the main reason we have 3 components. So I spoke about the first one, which is mostly applied to funding. I spoke about the industry and academia linkages, but we also have a third component, and that's to break down that silo. We know that the ecosystem, the major players in the ecosystem don't necessarily speak to each other and interact. So we want to bring them together in one space where we could have financial support, business acumen support, marketing support, in terms of expanding intra-regionally and extra-regionally. We want to bring those major players around the table to sort of build a network model so that persons can find a sort of a one-stop shop to help them. No matter which stage you're at your business or your innovation, there must be a space where everybody can come and access some support and resources. So that third component definitely speaks to breaking down those silos and creating or developing that ecosystem, I should say.
And I want to thank you for helping to share your work on creating that innovation or that ecosystem. Davin Jagessar, thank you, Assistant Program Coordinator, European Development Fund Unit, Ministry of Planning and Development. And on behalf of our entire news team, I'm Dike Rostant. Thank you for joining us.